Hey, how's it going, Internet Land? I do most of my best thinking in the truck, so figured it's nice and quiet here and make a video. I've been watching some videos today about other people's personal stories about leaving the witnesses, so thought I would make a quick one. I hadn't made one yet, and figured it's something good to do. So anyway, let's get right into it. So fading from the witnesses started for me about 2 years ago. I had a bunch of guys over. This is going to sound silly, but I had a bunch of guys over to play Overwatch. It's a video game Blizzard makes. I don't know if you know it or not. But after I had a bunch of guys over, as you know, in the witnesses, if you have a big gathering, the elders are going to find out about it. And they took big offense to Overwatch. And so I was a ministerial servant at the time, so we had a couple meetings about it. And not the presiding overseer, what the heck are they called? Coordinator, body of elders or whatever. He came up to me and said, hey, just be careful about, what you play when in front of a group of people. Just, be aware. I thought that was the end of it. And honestly, if that was the end of it, I probably would still be a Jehovah's Witness today. So thank you, body of elders, for being a bunch of dicks, because it really helped me leave. So it didn't stop there, though. One of the elders had a hard-on for me, so he called a meeting, had me in front of everybody, and really laid into me about how evil I was for being a lover of violence, and tried to bring up whatever he could about this video game. They actually watched some YouTube videos on Overwatch, and then told me how violent and abhorrent it was. And so I'm a thinker. I own my own business, and it's a pretty successful business, I think. And I said, it's just like a PG-13 movie. It's a rated T video game, which is just like a PG-13 movie. I'm like, I know you all. I know you like Star Trek and you like Star Wars. And I'm like, it's nothing different than that. It's the same type of violence. Like, why are you coming down on me about this? And that was my first mistake. As a witness, you never want to disagree with the elders. If you disagree with the elders, that's when shit hits the fan. I mean, because now you're showing the elders that you're thinking for yourself. Soon as the elders get a whiff that you are thinking for yourselves, that's when shit gets real, and that's when the elders know they need to come after you. So we had a few more meetings about it, and they said they could keep me as a servant, but I told them, no, I don't want to be a servant anymore. I said, I can't be a servant and be scrutinized like this. I know what I did wasn't wrong, and so I want to step down. I don't want to be a servant and deal with this. Then we had a circuit overseer visit like 2 weeks later, and got hauled into the room again. Oh, by the way, there was 7 meetings. We had 7 meetings about playing a video game, and that's that bad. So the 7th meeting was with the circuit overseer, and he's like, you can't step down, we're going to remove you. And I'm like, what? And that's when I realized it was a procedural thing. They don't want their numbers to look bad. And I figured that out without even, looking up any other information about the witnesses. I hadn't even started looking at the internet yet. But I'm like, wait, this is not right. This is a numbers game. This is a business decision more than it is of anything. And so the circuit overseer even was saying how much of a violent game it was and how it could lead me to abusing my wife. I mean, that's how warped. That was a huge reason too. I'm like, wow, your thinking is so off. Like, that isn't even logical. That's so far messed up, it doesn't even make sense. When he told me I was going to beat my wife because I played Overwatch, I'm like, what? So yeah, that was pretty insane. After that, I had there was a daily text. I was still believing. I was pissed, but I was still believing. And I think this was definitely the straw that broke the camel's back and got me looking at more information online. We had a daily text that said, if you the elders, let's see, it said the organization would never review a video game or movie or magazine to deem whether it was appropriate or not. And so I had brought that to Cody Merritt. I'll name him by name because he's a dank. But yeah, Cody Merritt, he has good intentions. I mean, honestly, he's a true believer. It's just, he really believes the cult. So, I mean, he's probably would be a good guy if he wasn't a witness, honestly. So I guess I shouldn't be name calling him. But I showed it to Cody Merritt in front of the hall, and he's instantly trying to get me to shush and be quiet. Like, he doesn't want to talk about it because he knows they're way in the wrong. Because I said, that's what you guys did. The elder body watched a YouTube video of the video game and told me I couldn't play it. I'm like, this right here in the daily text says you'll never do that. And that was my first taste of Watchtower hypocrisy. And that was it. That was what led me to leave the witnesses. That first taste, because I'm very much a just guy. I like justice. I hate seeing injustice. It's probably one of my biggest pet peeves, along with like lying and stealing. It gets me fired up really quick. And so I saw the hypocrisy there. And as you know, if you faded or left, you know about all the lies and hypocrisy. So, that's what led me away from the witnesses. I want to say thank you to all the YouTube video creators or whatever. Telltale probably is my favorite. I love your videos, man. If you see this, your videos are great. A bunch of the personal stories were good. If I have any suggestions for anyone, it's do not write a letter. You might be pissed. You might start learning all the truths. Do your own research for sure. Get on the internet, find out where the witnesses actually came from. Don't be afraid to look on the internet. I know you're told the devil is, giving you all this crap information, and the devil's just trying to sway you from the true religion. I mean, it's just mind control tactics. It's real. When you're a witness, you really believe it. It's scary. You won't look on the internet for any dissenting information to the witnesses. And that's when you realize, once you're out long enough, you realize these mind control tactics they have are pretty huge. But look up, grab an encyclopedia, see where the Jehovah's Witnesses came from, learn the real history of them. That'll help. You'll learn about all the child molestation cases and stuff. That helps continue to push. If you get a chance, download the elders book. It's a green book that only elders are allowed to look at. You'll learn about a lot of the hypocrisy, especially when it comes to disfellowshipping. You're told as a witness over and over and over, you will not be disfellowshipped unless you are unrepentant, which is so untrue. They can disfellowship you for anything. If it's something, if they don't like you and say you're not really strong, say you're not a ministerial servant or haven't climbed the rungs of the watchtower yet, and you do something wrong, you have a much higher chance of getting disfellowshipped. Whether you're repentant or not is irrelevant. And that's super frustrating when I learned that. It happened to my brother-in-law, and he was repentant, still got disfellowshipped, and that actually helped my wife leave. So I was thankful that my wife left with me. That was awesome. She was about 6 months behind me, but it was because her brother got disfellowshipped even when he was repentant. That was her trigger to help her leave. So anyway, we'll go back to me and Cody talking there. That was my point of when I decided to leave the witnesses. Again, like I said, fading is, you want to fade. When you leave the witnesses, you have nothing. You have no friends. My parents are witnesses. They actually lived with us, so that made it tougher. 4 years ago, we had built a house for them on the property, and they were living on our property. They actually just moved out a few months ago, so that was tough to see them go. But they don't really talk to us anymore. I'm not officially disfellowshipped yet. I'm still technically fading or whatever. But a lot of the YouTube videos and personal stories talked about people who had disassociated and had nothing. They had no friends. They had nobody to lean on, and it really can lead you into a state of depression, really bad depression. So please don't disassociate, fade. Just stop going to the meetings. And one of the best pieces of advice that I got from a video was to find other people that like to do what you like to do. So it could be anything. For me, I love ATVs, so I love four-wheeling. So I immediately jumped into a four-wheeler club and got around people that like to four-wheel and got to make a lot of friends that way. Got my kids involved in sports because I have 2 boys and they lost all their friends, so got them involved with sports. And by getting them involved in sports, they could make friends. We made friends with the parents that with their kids involved in sports. You get to start meeting, parents from your kids' school, because before you weren't really supposed to be hanging out with them. So it opens up all these doors for you to have a support system, to have a social structure again, because that's when the witnesses say, see how miserable that person is because they got disfellowshipped or they left Jehovah, see how horrible, miserable they are. Well, yeah, they're miserable. You just ripped their family and their entire social structure away from them. Anybody would be miserable at that point. So don't be that statistic for the witnesses. Don't be that miserable person. And if you disassociate, you most likely are going to be that miserable person because you don't have any family or friends to be around, which it's going to make you... It's a huge change because as a witness, you have so many people around you all the time. So, yeah, fade. That would be my biggest piece of advice. I'll make some other videos. I have some pretty cool stories, during my exodus from the witnesses and some crazy stuff I saw. So, this one's already on 12 minutes, so I'll make another one. And I hope everyone has a good day. Shoot me any comments. I'll be happy to answer them.